Hello guys, how are you all doing? Today I will be talking about a place that I've always wanted to visit. This place is known as the Niagara Falls by Jeffrey Johnson. The Niagara Falls has a lot of environmental characteristics. The falls serve as the international border between the Canadian province of Ontario and New York. In addition, there are three falls that make up the Niagara Falls. They include the Horseshoe Falls, the American Falls, and the Bridal File Falls. The falls are located on the Niagara River, which drains Lake Erie into Lake Ontario. The falls have the highest flow rate than any other waterfall in North America and has a vertical drop of more than 165 feet. The Niagara Falls are located 17 miles northwest of Buffalo, New York, and 75 miles southeast of Toronto. A little bit of the history of the Niagara Falls. The Niagara Falls are around 12,000 years old, which ultimately is pretty young. If you look at a lot of things on the planet, 12,000 years old is not that old. The first inhabitants of the Niagara Falls were Native Americans. They were the first here. Then it was later discovered by the Europeans. In 1678, the French settler Louis Hennepin was the first European to encounter the falls. Then, in the 1800s, the development of the rail system allowed visitors from all over North America and other parts of the world to be able to visit the falls a little bit easier. In 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte's younger brother took his wife on their honeymoon at the Niagara Falls, which is pretty interesting. They really admired it and went there for their honeymoon. It's pretty cool. In 1848, for the first time in the history of the falls, they went dry due to some strong winds that kept the water backed up in Lake Erie. Also, along with the winds, there was an ice jam that dammed the river up near Buffalo, New York. In 1848, the first service bridge was built under engineer Charles Ellet. Then, in 1857, the first landscape masterpiece was captured by artist Frederick Church as a painting. That was the first real painting that made money. It was very nice. In 1848, the first service bridge was built under engineer Charles Ellet. And then, in 1885, the Niagara Reservation State Park was open to the public. A little bit on a side note, I wanted to share a couple interesting things that happened in history. In July of 1920 was the taking place of the famous barrel incident. Charles Stevens got inside of a 600-pound oak barrel and took a plunge over the falls. However, Charles did not live to tell of his experience and was killed due to the extreme force of the current that come from the falls. However, he was not the first person to do this. In 1901, Annie Edison Taylor was not only the first woman to go over the falls, but she was the first person to go over them in general. She survived her daring mission. And then later on July 9th, 1960, a 7-year-old boy named Roger Woodward was the first person to go over the falls without protection. And surprisingly, while he received many injuries, he did survive this incident. Some political and economic characteristics. The Niagara Falls provide 1/4 of all the power used in New York and Ontario. This is a lot of power coming from just one location. The park's way of receiving funding include tourism, state grants, and donations. The state of New York provides a lot of funding to keep the falls operating, but so does the Canadian side for the Horseshoe Falls. In addition to this, the falls have a lot of cultural influence in the area. People come here for many outdoor activities. These include biking, photography, art, fishing, and a lot of weddings. People also use this place as a major honeymoon spot as well. The falls is also known as a job center for many restaurants, tour guides, state park employees, maintenance workers, and educators also come here to teach. Alongside this, the area is kept very clean and the environment is preserved very well around the whole falls. So that's my presentation, resources, and thank you guys for listening.